so it's just that little tab right there. Be gentle with the tab, don't reef on it too much.
They break very easily.
Exactly. I do have some extra of these in your owner's manual as well, but you take the big end right here, slide it over the peg, and then just slide it over, and it clicks in place. So that's tied off there. So you get to keep those, you get to keep the tie lines that are on here as well.
Okay.
If you want to record, we can do it in like different parts, so it's not one very long video. So if you want to stop and restart, we'll go to my best to hit everything. But back here we have the ski tow bar. So the rope is going to come underneath, it'll wrap around, and then the loop just sits right on that peg. So that's very easy to use. It is rated for tubing, skiing, wakeboarding, all your water sports.
Okay.
The only two things they recommend you don't do with the tow bar is parasailing, which you're probably not doing anyways, and towing other boats. If you are in a situation where you're towing another boat, you have some D-rings down here. There's one right there, for example, and you can use that to tow off of because that's connected through the boat's frame. Okay. The fuel fill, I'll open this door so your camera can see it as well.
Thank you.
But this hatch opens up from the floor, and you'll see the fuel cap is right there, so direct access to fill.
Right, yeah.
And there's a couple wires and other tubes and stuff in there, but you only have to worry about the fuel fill. Back here, it is completely normal to see that water in there. When we take the boat out, you'll see right underneath that plate, there's a big hole in the back of the center tune. It only comes into here. The rest of the tune forward is sealed off, so it'll be empty and dry.
So that's the third pontoon right there.
Exactly, it comes all the way to the back here. Last thing on the back is our ladder. On the very far side here, you have a vinyl strap that just unbuttons, and that's going to fold down into the water. A pro tip I can give you guys, if you have like a small piece of string or something, you can tie it to the last ring here and to this, and that way you don't have to reach in and grab the actual ladder. You can just pull the string and pull it up. So it makes it a little bit easier, especially this time of year. You don't have to worry about going in the water when it's 40, 50 degrees. Any questions so far? Itself only drafts about 12 inches. You can see the pontoons here. Because they're 25-inch diameter tunes, the back of them are only about halfway submerged. However, the engine drafts more than that. The engine all the way down in this position here, it's going to draft about 28 inches. And you can trim it up. I'll show you guys once we start heading out here on the water how high you can trim this and still have it running. There's a water intake I'll show you guys. You just want to make sure that is submerged. Light or your anchor light, there is a thumb screw on here on the side, so you can loosen that up and you can pivot this down. Just gotta loosen it a little bit more, like so. And I'm just doing this for now because we have to fit under that bridge. I don't want to break off your guys' stern light on the first drive. Your white light is right here. You can flip that up and down. So if you don't have bridges back at home, you can just stick it up and you'll be good to go.
Okay, so it's legally, it's okay in either position.
Correct, yep. So I would probably think this folds. Yeah, you can like twist that. You want to be able to see this from 360 degrees. So I would go up just a little bit more if you're going out at nighttime. If you never go out at nighttime, you could leave it just like that and never have an issue.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
So back here we have our battery switch, and that is your main power switch for the entire boat. It's just an on-off switch, so right now it's in the on position. We turn it clockwise or counterclockwise, it goes to off. So it's just 90-degree rotation on and off. We'll keep it on because we're going to hit the water shortly. Underneath the couch here.
Do you recommend turning that off when we're not using the boat?
I would every time.
Okay.
Just in case you leave a switch on, if you turn that off, it's going to eliminate any power going anywhere. Okay. Under this compartment is where your battery is located. So you would unscrew these little nuts right here. You can take the cover off and your battery terminals would be exposed. In the event that you do kill it, you can jump start it. That's probably the best investment you can have as boat owners is a jumper pack. You can find them on Amazon, like the NOCO brand. It's about this big and it just plugs right onto the battery and it jump starts it. So.
And is that something you charge at home?
You can, yep, and charge it off of like USB or 12 volt or right into a wall. Okay. It's just a good thing to have because inevitably, you know, someone might forget to turn the battery switch off and you leave one of the lights on. You're going to come back and your boat's going to be dead. Having that readily available would be super nice. Okay. So battery switches here. I have the Bimini mooring or the Bimini boot in here, which we'll go over in a little bit. And there's also canvas poles in here we'll go over afterwards as well. This is one of our maintenance items over here. This is where your spin-off fuel filter is located. So just like the battery, you'd unscrew these nuts right here. It looks like an oil filter, just a spin-on filter. You should be replacing the fuel filter every year. If you guys are bringing the boat back to us, that's included in our gold package winterization. On this boat with the Yamaha, you have one here, and there's also one on the engine as well. So that's usually something you replace every 100 hours or once a year.
And you cover both with your...
Yep, if you do the gold package, they're both included. And I'll break that down a little bit later as well.
Those are both fuel.
We have life jackets underneath here.
Guess we need more orange
So
life
just a bunch of
jackets.
storage.
They're not orange.
Not orange, they are yellow. And obviously when you guys get the boat home, you can take some of these out, you can move them around, make it your own.
How many are there?
Here. There should be 11. So
Oh!
6 over here. I'm assuming there's going to be some.
11 people.
Mark, look how your gloves match the...
I know.
Looks like there's 12 in here, so they gave you one extra one as well.
Yeah.
But you can move those around and put them in different spots. If it's only going to be the 4 of you guys, you could take 8 of them out and just have 4 of them on the boat here. This slide up and then opens. This is a soft-sided cooler right here. So this is complimentary from Bennington, but
Thank you,
What
Ben.
a nice gift.
nothing too fancy, but nice little thing
That's
to have there.
Did we get the table?
Yeah, right here.
Table's
Oh.
right here, and then we did the second base in the rear.
Yes.
Okay, then.
But the table
That's kind
comes
of
off,
disappointing because they would be easier to clean that way.
So, yeah, but this just lifts right off. It's a tapered fit. I'm just gonna dump out this ladybug. The way that the pedestal comes out is there's a button right here, and usually you can push that in with your foot and then unscrew.
Yeah. Usually. There you go.
And after a couple turns, you can let go of the button and just unscrew it off, and it'll keep coming out. There we go. So it's just a threaded piece right there. And then you've got this little track system here, which mates up with this. So when you push the button in, that goes down and it releases it and unlocks it. So you can put this in the front or the back, and then to reinstall, just line it up and screw it back in. And you'll see if you stop before it's all the way down, it's pretty wiggly. So make sure you go down. You will hear like an audible clicking noise, and just go until it's nice and snug. So like that's the clicking right there, but you can see it's still wiggly. So just keep going. It's pretty snug right there. Put our table back on. It's nice and sturdy.
Can the table go that way and this way?
Yeah, for sure. You can put it anywhere you want.
Okay, great. Thank you. Very nice.
Console. This folds down and then spins 180 degrees, and you have storage underneath there. So we've got you set up with an anchor down there. I think there's a trash can in there as well, and there's a strap for the back end of the cover as well. And this is just a nice little storage compartment. It is lockable. So on our boat keys, you'll see 3 keys. You have your ignition key, you have a key for this little latch right here, and there's also a key for the glove box down by your feet when you're driving. So all of those are lockable.
Okay. Good to know.
A lot of buttons here, but it's pretty easy actually.
ahead.
So from left to right, we have our horn that comes right out the front of the boat there. Radio and accessory, arguably the most important switch on here. When you turn that on, you'll see both the Garmin and the stereo system come to life. The Garmin will take a few more seconds than the radio to actually turn on, so while those are loading, we'll finish going over the switches.
Thank goodness a Garmin. Because out that square mile of a lake, it's easy to get lost in.
Right. The next switch here is your navigation lights. So when you turn this up, you'll see both the top and bottom are illuminated. The radio also dims its brightness with the nav light circuit. So if you look over the side on the front rails, you'll see the red and green are on now, and your white light on the deck bimini is open as well, or is on. So 3 positions to this switch. Up is your underway light, all 3 lights are on. Middle position is off, and then all the way down is just your anchor light. You'd use that if you guys were anchored somewhere at night, so folks don't see your red and green lights, they know you're not moving.
So the anchor light is the one on that pole.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. And then right next to the nav lights, we have our docking lights, which again are in the same housing as the nav lights. Those are a nice bright LED that shine forward.
Nice.
Not to be used as headlights. You don't want to turn those on in the middle of the lake because you'll just blind everybody else. But if you're pulling
So it's
back
like
into
your
the
bright
dock,
lights.
exactly. Pulling back into the dock, you can turn those on and it'll illuminate everything in front
Yeah,
of
we're
you.
going to need that.
The last switch that actually does something here is this one here labeled accent. So if we turn that on, if you look at the bottom of each of the hinges at the doors, they have the gate glide right there, and that's illuminated to shine in. So you've got one on the bow door, the port side door, and the stern door as well.
That's in case of an emergency water landing. Follow the lights
I had
along
the same thought.
The next 3 switches have power to them, but they don't actually do anything.
Okay.
So,
We didn't buy those features
Apparently not.
Zach.
pretty much.
Thanks a lot.
Sometimes you'd have like live wells for the fishing setup, which is like a bait well. This one is always just a spare accessory in case you want to add things to the boat later on. This one I think might be like speaker lighting and stuff, but they're just there. They have power to them, but they don't actually do anything.
Okay. What was accent again?
So that's your gate
Oh,
glide
all right.
lights.
Okay. And are these buttons in between these, or just?
Yes. So I was going to get to that next.
Oh,
These,
okay.
They may look like buttons, but what they are is they're called reset breakers. So the way everything's wired here is pretty much individual to each switch. So you don't have to worry about these too much. But similar to a household, if you draw too much power, these can trip. So to reset it, you just push it back in.
And will we know it's tripped?
Yeah, because they stick out about 1/4 inch.
Ah,
So they'll pop out, and you just push it back in to reset
Oh,
it.
okay. So it'll be obvious.
Usually, yeah. You turn something on and like see how this is lit right now.
Yes.
Turn it on, and it's not coming on, and this button's pushed out, and you know, just got to reset.
So each
that.
button is to the right of the switch.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And it's the left on this side. It's kind of like the inside.
Okay.
So down here, you've got a 12-volt receptacle and a USB input here. One thing to know about this USB is that it's wired directly to the radio. It is a Bluetooth stereo, but they still give you the option to plug in as well. So this USB will not charge phones, but you've got the 12-volt receptacle here where you can get a cigarette lighter adapter,
We've
plug
got
it
a
in.
couple of those.
And there's also a pad inside here. If you stick your phone in there,
Oh, nice.
there's a wireless charger built into that as
Sweet.
well. So you can just set your phone in there, and when the accessory switch is on, that will charge.
Drain the battery.
It will, yes, technically.
Charge your phone and drain the boat.
Right.
Okay.
So stereo, if you want to pause the video, we'll do another one at this point.
Okay.
Let's seek different stations using the arrow keys here. If you're linked up to it with Bluetooth, you can skip the song from that. There's also a brightness mode built in, so you can dim the brightness of the screen. It also works with the nav lights. When you turn those on, it gets dimmed. Sub controls, the boat doesn't actually have a subwoofer, but it does have the provisions. If you guys wanted to go crazy and add that kind of stuff in the future, you could have that right there. Volume controller right there in the middle. And then the power button at the bottom left is also your source button, so you can scroll through like AM, FM radio, auxiliary if you're plugged in down below, and Bluetooth, which we're not connected, so it just skips it right over. If you guys want, you can pair your phones or a phone to it now if you want. Either way.
I feel the need right now.
Yeah.
It's on this, you don't have to do anything. On your phone, you just go to your Bluetooth settings. Exactly. So you'll click in your Bluetooth settings. There should be a device called Rockford PMX or something along those lines. You just click on it, and it'll pair to this automatically. So it's very.
So is it an app we should add to our phones? I don't have an iPhone. We don't have iPhones.
You don't need an iPhone.
No,
Just
but whatever you said, you click on your
a lot more information on the Garmin than the stereo here. I do have manuals for all this stuff if you guys get bored or you don't remember what I say today. But you have plus and minus buttons here, so you can zoom in and zoom out. This is the navigation screen, so it shows different depth contours and everything. I've set it up so your data is displayed in the corners. And what you're going to see here is your GPS speed, your water temperature, the water depth, and then your GPS position. Again, probably not super important in Crystal Lake, but it's just, I don't know what else to put there.
This button, the depth finder there.
Yep,
that's
depth
handy.
here. And there's a whole other page dedicated just to depth finding too. We'll get to in a moment.
Can we have it scream at us if we're less than 36 inches?
We can actually.
Ah, that's good to know.
So when you click home, it'll bring you back to this menu here. We were just in the navigation chart. There's also a fishing chart, which looks very similar, but you'll see more detail and contours to the ground here. So just a lot more different depths there.
Does it find the fish for you so you can cheat?
Kind of.
It's not bright, is it?
The last chart is your 3D chart, which is similar to what you have in a car, where you're looking forward rather than straight up and down. It has these rings here, which are your distance radiuses, so like a 1/10 of a mile, a 1/4 mile, 1/2 mile, 1 mile, etc. You can zoom in and zoom out of this one as well.
And does using this chew up a lot of battery while the boat is running?
Well, if
do we
running,
need
you
to-
won't have an issue because the stator on the engine charges the system inside here. So
Okay.
if you're running, you can have everything on. You can have phones plugged in, everything.
Okay.
You're not going to overdraw.
You just
the
have to be
battery.
careful when the boat is off.
Correct.
You're still drawing
Yep.
battery juice.
And it's usually, if you're not going anywhere, you can turn this off because
Yes.
this will draw quite a bit of power.
Okay.
If you're just listening to the radio, I'd say like 3 to 4 hours of just kind of like hanging out. And then after that, you probably want to start the boat up, go for a couple hot laps, get it charged back up, and do it all over again.
How much, when you say a couple of laps, like how much time, because a lap for us is 30 seconds.
Right, yeah.
How much time would you say we would need to do
Like
that?
half an hour or so, maybe.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah.
So that's good to know.
you could probably get away going less time than that too, but
Not worth
just to
it.
make sure you're charging it exactly.
Okay.
But those are the 3 chart options. If you hit the home button and you scroll down, we have charts and sonar available. So sonar is going to be your traditional depth finder. So this is like the bottom of the boat up here, and then this is the ground. So right now we're in just shy of 7 feet of water, and this is probably like the weeds and stuff. You'll see as we start to move, if we leave it on this screen, the contour will change and everything, so it'll work with you. One thing to know about the depth finder though, is it works really well at low speeds, but if you're going like 15 plus miles an hour, it's going to get a little wonky. It might not read the depth correctly, so just remember that.
Okay.
That's when you need it. When you're
Right.
bearing down on those rocks.
The next sonar is your clear view, which is a higher frequency, similar to your traditional depth. It just has a higher frequency, so a little bit clearer picture, better for fishing. And you'll see as we're moving here, it starts to scroll along the bottom. In the last screen, you can do split frequency, which is the 2 different frequencies side by side. So again, really for fishing and everything. The last thing I'll show you guys on here is you have combination screens as well. So it comes preloaded with a few combos already, but you can go in here and create your own. A popular one that I see people do is they'll have the navigation chart on one side, and then they'll have a traditional depth finder on the other side. Click done. And then this will give you split screen view here, so you have your map on one side and your depth finder over here. And there's all kinds of stuff you can play around and change where the data is shown and everything, but this is just kind of a basic overview of it.
Mark's rethinking not buying a trailer because I can see he wants to take it to another lake.
I'm sure, yeah.
That sounds like a pain in the neck. We need a big vehicle. to
No,
buy.
I'm joking.
I'll leave it on this screen for our test drive here.
Okay.
The last thing here at the dash to go over is the gauges, which are pretty simple. On the left, we have our trim gauge, which right now the key is off, so all these are just kind of dead right now. But your trim gauge will tell you the height of the motor. I'll talk more about the trim as we start heading out, and we actually want to know what trim does for us. Besides just lifting up for shallow water, it does affect performance too. Here in the center you have a tachometer, and there's a digital screen on there as well that will read out the engine hours. So you'll see over time that number will start to increase. And then the last one over here is your fuel. So this boat has a 33-gallon fuel tank. Should last quite a while with the 115, but it depends what you're doing as well. If you're going out for sunset cruises, it's going to sip fuel. If you're going out doing water sports, it's going to burn down a lot more fuel.
You said 33 gallons?
Correct. In functionality, I'll show you guys on this one so you can see the levers. That's fine right there. 2 levers on the right hand side of the seat. There's one back here and there's one up front. The one towards the front is your slider, so you can slide the chair forward and backwards. If you let go, it locks it in place. The one towards the back allows you to rotate the chair. So it'll lock about every 90 degrees like it just did. This chair will spin a full 360 degrees. That one's only going to turn about 45 degrees away from the controls, and then it'll stop.
For obvious reasons.
Then on the side, you can see this one right here. This is your recliner. So you lift that up and you can recline the chair up and down, and your armrest simply fold down as well. So you can get pretty comfortable here at the helm.
Okay, cool.
Bimini is very easy. It might seem overwhelming just because there's a lot of stuff, but all you have to do is the front leg right here. You give it a good little hit backwards, and then lock it in there. If you guys want to do that side, feel free. Now the whole thing is going to fold backwards. So
Should I move?
no, you're good. So I like to kind of push by the bows here, because that's going to bring this one down nice and flat. And as this one's coming down, you just want to push it up. So your end result is all three of those bows go the same way. If you do it the wrong way, it'll come down like this, and obviously you're not going to be able to put the cover on that way.
So you're holding that middle one up to allow it to pull.
Exactly, yep. So the two middle ones kind of go opposite of each other. And then this would be your closed position. And I have the Bimini boot cover down in here, which simply zips to itself here and wraps this all up nice and tight. You'll see the Bennington logo will face the front of the boat, and right behind it you have a hole with some Velcro, and that's your cutout for the stern light. So it's pretty hard to put it on backwards because you'll know pretty quickly it's not fitting. So I'm just going to take my shoes off so I can jump up on the couch here, and I'll get this started for them.
Any help?
If you want to, you can. That side, bring it all the way to the edge, and I'll jump up on the couch again. This is always the worst part of the boat.
Yeah.
There's two zippers, so there's one on both sides, and it's going to zip towards the middle. Now, take all this excess and you're already moving into it, and just roll it up into itself. As you get closer, the Velcro will overlap. So hopefully not. I try to be thorough on this part so you don't get stumped in the future, but it's very important to make sure that the throttle is in neutral. So this position here is the neutral position, and there's a lockout on here as well, so when you bring it back to neutral, it clicks in and locks in place. But I just wanted to mention it because if you leave it in gear, sometimes people do it without realizing it, so it's just a total accident. If it's not in neutral, it's not going to start. So a couple things to
Good to
check
know.
right off the bat. One, make sure your battery switch is turned on. Two, make sure you're in neutral here. And the third thing is right over here on the side, you have your safety kill switch, which in theory, this would be attached to you, whether you kind of wrap it around your wrists and wear it like this, or attach it to your belt loop, whatever it may be. In the event that you fall off, this unplugs, and I'll do it so you can see. It just unplugs and it pushes that button in. So right now, the boat will also not start because this is not plugged in. So this just has like a little fang right here, and you push it onto this button, and it pushes the button out like 1/8 of an inch. With a pontoon boat, I honestly don't think you guys will ever be in a situation where you're gonna fall overboard, but it is a good habit to just make sure that's plugged in, obviously, otherwise the boat won't start. But it's a good habit to make sure you wear this just for safety reasons.
Maureen and I will be the only ones wearing that.
So as long as your three things are good, you have your battery switch in the on position, your throttle's in the neutral position, and your kill switch is plugged in, you simply take the key, turn it one click, you'll see the gauges start to fire up, and then if you hold the key again, the engine starts right up.
So
I know.
It is
so
running right
fun.
now.
no idea how loud our other boat was.
I believe it.
Oh my god, from the day we got it. Okay.
But that's pretty much it for the instrumentation. You can see all of our gauges have come to life, so our trim is down because the engine is down. The tachometer is right around 700-800 RPMs right now, and we have a full tank of fuel. So if you guys want to have a seat, I'll drive us out. I fold the cover over on itself, I walk in the boat, I take the poles out, and then I can reach over and do the clips over here. And then I'm left with the canvas just kind of going the length of the boat, and I can roll it up just like this here. Makes it easy to stow, and it makes it a lot easier to put it back on. So as I unroll this, it's going to unroll from the back towards the front here. If you're not particular like that, it's a-okay as well. There's a secret I can tell you guys on the cover. What you want to look for is a little zipper. It's about 2 feet long. It should be right about here on the side, right there. So you can see this zipper from both sides of the canvas. And the reason you want to look for this zipper is because it always lines up with the door here on the side. So at the bottom of the zipper, you have your 2 hooks right here. On the outside, they do look like snaps, but they are hooks. So if I change spots with these, I'll show you guys this. And I'll open the door so you can get a video of this. Usually the door would be shut, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll show you guys with it open. But you simply take this little hook right here. The top railing all the way around the boat has a groove cut into it, and that hook pops right into the groove. You can hear like an audible click. So you just do that. You have these clips like every foot and a half, 2 feet
go
or so.
in the door itself.
Yep, exactly.
Centered on the door with the zipper. Okay.
Perfect, exactly. And it can slide there too. So if you do notice it's not centered, you can just kind of slide it over and then center it on its own there. To take the clips off, I see a lot of people try to just grab the clips and take them off. You'll probably end up breaking it that way. So the way to do it is kind of put your thumb on the corner and just pull straight down at an angle. So like my fingers didn't touch the clip at all. It's just a matter of pulling it down. So same thing with this one. Just kind of...
Can I try that?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of like put your thumb at the corner of the clip and then kind of like twist at the same time as you're pulling it. I think you've got it there. And then kind of go straight down.
Oh, straight down.
And once you do it a few times, I
Yeah.
promise it does get easier. The first time is always the worst. You're like 99% there. I can see it. It might be this angle too is throwing it off. You just, yeah, I was gonna say try to shut the door and then just pull like straight down. Somebody has to go underneath and put up the canvas poles. And that's kind of like a tent. So you notice here the middle is taller.
Yeah.
So I have the poles under this corner seat here. I'll move one of them out just so you can see how they work.
So why don't you tow it covered? Because we have to get in it and drive it to the dock?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's just not good to trailer them with the covers on.
Oh, it's not.
They usually recommend if you're going to exceed 40 miles an hour, take the covers off.
Because of
If
the
you're going
wind
like
and the-
back roads and stuff, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
If you're going back roads, you could keep the cover on, but
I see.
since you guys are going to be getting right into it, it just makes sense to keep it off.
Okay, fair enough.
But this is your canvas pole. There are 4 or 5 of them in here. They sit right on the floor, but on the cover, you can see right here. This, from the outside of the cover, looks like a little vent. The underside of it has a little hole. So the pole just simply goes in there, and then you would stick that in, pull the pole up, do it so you guys can see this actually. But you would push this up, you would twist this little latch in, and that holds it nice and tight. So the cover kind of sits on top of this.
Okay.
My pro tip with these is to label them. You can use like tape or a silver Sharpie, like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you get it covered for the first time, mark how high that has to be, like with a hash mark this way.
Very good
And then the
idea.
next time you go to put the cover on, you just kind of find pole 1, stick it in. If you're covering it front to back or vice versa, back to front. And then you just put the poles in as you go. You don't have to crawl underneath there again. So that's my pro tip. For these.
You're always taking the poles out and storing them separately. You wouldn't roll the cover up with the poles in it, right? Because it's too...
It'd be kind of bulky and awkward.
yeah,
I'm sure you
okay.
could do it that way,
Yeah.
but I've never tried it that way.
Okay, so the poles are all in that?
Yep.
Okay.
Looks like there are 4 of them.